All right, welcome everybody. Let's go ahead and begin. So I was just saying before we hit record that in about, I don't know, 3 or 4 days, we're going to do a session with our lead dev and co-founder, Jeremy James, to go over more of the technology side. But today, Robin and I just wanted to connect with you. It's not going to be a Q&A today, not an AMA, but we'll have an AMA Q&A type setup after the next one where we have Jeremy there to go over. And I was just saying this, but I want to say it so this gets captured for people to catch the replay. Right now, what we're looking at on the screen is literally the live DApp. And I'm going to go into some of this today, kind of catch you up on where we're at and what's left before we open this up to everybody. But I just wanted to say the technology built into this is so far superior to any other DApp that's been created ever. And that has such a significant impact in terms of its implications for the value for the entire industry, and even just the buzz that can create in the industry, that that this actually represents like the next possibility for other types of applications, because the team actually solved things that hadn't been solved before, nobody wanted to bother solving. So we're going to have a session just on that. And I asked Jeremy to plan to speak both to technologists that can follow the deeper discussion. And then each time we discuss a piece of it, we then try to speak to everyone else who maybe didn't follow everything that was discussed in the technology side, so that everyone, to the best of our ability, understands just how significant this is. And that also kind of opens up this discussion today, which is I'm hoping people can understand just how incredible it is, what has already been accomplished and what's about to roll out. It's massive. And today we'll do a little bit of that, but just plan to, if you can, make it to the next session. We don't have the time and date, but I mean, keep your eyes and ears open for the announcement of the next session, which will be followed by an AMA and Ask Me Anything Q&A type format, because we really want to make sure everybody understands just how significant this was, not just for what we're creating it for, but also in terms of the value and impact it has for the entire blockchain, in terms of just how advanced this is and how it opens up a whole new world of dApps that nobody's ever tackled before. And again, so that will be coming up in a few days, and we'll have an AMA follow-up. Today, again, we're looking at the live DApp right now. I'm going to go over some of this and dive a little bit deeper with where it's at, as I was saying, and what we need before we open it up to everybody, which is right around the corner. I mean, the day we were given for that, where this opens up to everybody, is Tuesday. This is Saturday, November 13th. So that would be Tuesday, the 16th. When I say that, though, I want you to understand that when we put out a date for this, and if we don't hit it, like let's say it doesn't open up to everybody on Tuesday and we say, oh, it's going to be Thursday or whatever, that should not create any level of disappointment. And if it does, it means there's a major misunderstanding about what the heck is going on here. What we've created, and we're going to dive a lot deeper into all of this in a few days on the next session on the technology side, but what we've created should have taken at least 6 more months. And to appease those of you who are project managers who understand technology and how projects are usually rolled out, and to address everybody else that just kind of senses that large corporations, multi-billion-dollar companies who roll out technologies, typically hit their dates. Although, of course, if we look at Elon Musk in 2018, he hit his major milestones, or he missed his major milestones, I should say. He kept missing his milestones. And in 2018, it was a major one. And a lot of people question, oh, are they going to make it? And of course, they went on to become one of the most successful companies in history. So we all kind of know you don't have to hit every major milestone to be a massive success, and even the biggest success, like in Tesla's case. However, we also know that there needs to be some kind of consistency of setting goals and hitting timelines. So I want to just kind of address that and say, we're in a situation where we're rushing to launch because the crypto market is unique in needing that. And please try to listen carefully, because this is challenging for me to say, and it's so important. It's so friggin' important. If we had launched this in a way that would be comfortable to project managers, that would be comfortable to many who become uncomfortable when things don't hit certain timelines. If we had launched it where bam, 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 we just hit the dates, we would have had to set this out 6 months for this to be properly rolled out. And I also want to underscore, and again, we'll get in a few days when we have the technology session, we'll be able to dive into this. Jeremy will be able to really dig into this so technologists can really understand what's underneath everything I'm sharing now. But I just want to get this out, that any other team that, and I really believe that obviously there's some exceptions, but the team we have is so exceptional. Any other team I've ever worked for in the past that were developers, programmers, et cetera, who were even high level, high paid, high level, they would have quit at this stage of the game to try to force something out to the market this fast. It would be literally impossible for some of the best developers in the world to do. And so sometimes I just want to say, like, when we see things said in the Telegram group and stuff that doesn't like just cheer for what's happened already and what we're creating, and some people might not understand why we don't address everything or why we kind of have the attitude that we have, it's because we know that this is absolutely exceptional, what's been created and the timeline we're doing it. I'm sharing all this because if we say, oh, we plan to have this out Tuesday, it may not be Tuesday. And that should be okay, because we're 6 months ahead of anybody else trying to accomplish this. And if we were going to hit our dates perfectly, we'd have to push this out months to be able to properly test. We can't know every little thing that's going to come up during the testing process unless we push this out many, 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 many months and do it in the typical project managed way, which we're not doing because this is crypto. Can't do that in crypto. You can't launch something 6 months from now on the BSC. You can do it if you've got a lot more funding, but you guys know what those projects are. You basically need to be building a network to get away with that kind of thing. The rest of the projects, they might have a little pump and then they dump and then no one hears from them again for years sometimes, like OMG. Like so many projects that you guys probably invested into 3 or 4 years ago that, still aren't doing anything, still haven't produced anything. We could be that kind of project, but we chose to kind of show off what the dev team that we have is capable of and rush this out at a speed that impresses and blows away what anything else on the BSC and even the other networks are doing in terms of speed of implementation for a dApp, especially a dApp of this magnitude that could do all these kinds of things. So again, look for that session coming up about mid next week. We're going to dive deep into that, and Jeremy will share the technology behind all of that and some of the revolutionary stuff that this has built into it that really changes the game, not just for crypto research, but for the entire blockchain and for showing what the future can hold in terms of what dApps can do. Because this is really revolutionary on a lot of levels. So again, Tuesday is the date that he gave, but it's because he's pushing at a speed that's just extremely unusual and following a process that is not typically acceptable and that would have wiped most teams out. Most teams wouldn't be able to handle it. It would be a rat's nest right now, and they would have given up and left, and they would have never been able to do it. The team is pushing as fast as they can because we know that matters in the crypto space. But we can't.
I personally know other devs who are solid devs with solid projects who had developers leave for the same reason.
Oh yeah. We won't name them, but projects that you guys are probably somewhat familiar with that we're actually trying to develop something and we're doing all the right things in that regard. That already puts you in a really unique group if you're actually trying to develop something. But failed because the teams left because it was just too hard, too stressful. Because to do things right in a typical product development way, it takes 3 months, 6 months or more if you're going to hit your dates and have time to test things properly and have time to respond to all the things that can come up. But that's not what we're doing. We're taking an all-star dev team, like super high echelon all-star dev team, and rushing this, which most dev teams just couldn't do. It'd be broken. It would be a mess, but they're capable of it. They're pushing hard. But just understand, when we give a date, it's in that context. And if someone doesn't understand how amazing it is, just please forgive us for not having patience with them. Like it's okay, but we're not going to address that, other than like on a session like this and in a couple of days going deep into the technology behind this, so people really understand how unprecedented this is and how big of a deal this is for not just what we're doing, but for what the future holds for the entire blockchain. And we're frontiering that whole thing. And things were innovated on a technology side that's just mind-blowing. So anyway, we'll cover that in a few days. Tuesday is the date I was given. Would not be surprised if it ends up being Thursday or ends up being next week. I don't care. And if you understand how significant it is of what we've created, and I don't expect y'all to, but if you do, you won't care either, because it's already so fast and so innovative that it's enough. It's more than enough. And if we look at the chart here, I mean, this is a beautiful chart. And we're sitting at a 55.5 million market cap right now. I wouldn't care if this dropped. It just doesn't matter, because my focus is on this. It's like a lot of people, like when it was, it hits this little peak here, the short-term peak, and it's going down, and people are like, you got to do something. You got to do something. It's going down. It's like, no, we don't. What we've got to do is what we're going to keep doing. And that's making this badass dApp. Our focus is to make the best crypto research tool in the ICO market that's ever existed, make one of the most amazing dApps, if not the most cutting edge dApp that's ever been created, and let the market price it. Do we think it's going to be exponentially higher price than it is now? Yeah, of course we do. But our focus isn't on trying to control the price. Obviously, there's going to be ups and downs. Our focus is on developing the dApp and the platform and getting the word out through the marketing, which we're going to talk about that today.
Right. And I was just going to mention, I'll come in and guys, I'll give another update on that. I just want to mention, based off Mike, what you just said. Most projects, because again, just reiterating to remind you, I was vetting in our Tribe 100X Discord before we created Vetter, before I even knew Vetter was Vetter. And before we were even thinking about it, I was vetting projects. And one of the things that I always found that was a surefire way for a project to crash and burn. And basically, not all of the projects, but most of them, they got a bunch of money. Their devs were happy because they made a bunch of money. Then they had this big marketing budget. And then they were like, well, we're going to spend the marketing budget. We said we were. But then, behind the scenes, what they weren't really telling you was that they were going to use most of their budget or their notoriety or experience to develop another project to do the same thing again, to make a bunch of money for themselves. And so a lot of times.
Robin, can I talk about why
Yeah.
I want to stop there and I want to talk about why that is. Why are these projects so often developing or saying they're going to develop something, raising the money, and then they're using the money from that project to create a new project. And that somehow has become like a standard. Like that's okay.
And this is insider information, guys, for those of you who aren't in our Tribe 100X Discord, who are asking what we do. It's like we have high level conversations about this. And that's the reason why our vetters and scouts have more experience and knowledge to know what to look for. Go ahead.
So I was talking earlier about how the crypto market expects things to happen fast. Otherwise, it's like yawn, nobody cares, especially on the BSC. So what's happened is all these projects have to create a bunch of hype. And a lot of you know this, but not everybody does, or some of you are starting to know this. Most projects, if not literally all of them, feel this pressure to create a bunch of hype. to create the initial interest, to create the launch. And then they've collected all of this money and they pay themselves from that money. And then they might dabble with a little bit of it for marketing and stuff. But all in all, next thing you know, the bad ones will just slowly disappear and take that money. Even if you don't know it's a rug pull, it might take you a year to find out. The really bad ones don't even care if you know, and they'll run off with the money and completely disappear. And that's commonplace, right? And then, but what is less common, but even the more honorable ones will do what Robin said, you know, which still isn't very ideal for the investor. Some of the best will take some of that money and think it's 100% okay to start working on another project and get ready for the next launch. And a lot of investors actually are okay with that because then they invest into that one. But it's a weird scenario where nothing's ever getting developed. And I just wanted to say the reason for that, because it connects to what I was mentioning earlier about how we're doing everything differently. And it's setting a whole different precedent on so many different levels. The reason why they do that is they feel all this pressure from the market, like all the crap that we see in our Telegram, like win this, win that. When are you going to do this? I thought you were going to do that. You know, which if you respond to all of that, you're never going to get anything done. It's just a bunch of noise and has nothing to do with what's going on. But they're responding to that and they're appeasing to that group. And so they realize it's going to take them months, if not years, to develop anything of value. And they know they're going to lose everybody's attention if they do that. So instead of taking the time to develop something, which would take most teams much, much longer than our team, they just drop the idea of developing anything significant or new. They might do staking. They might do these little money games, right? You can do these little money games, but that's saturated and that's obviously limited in how far that can go if you're not actually developing a product of value. And so instead of developing anything of value, they move on to the next thing because they feel this pressure to appease to that group that are often the noisiest, who want to see something happen now.
Because it's easier to manipulate behaviors than to actually offer substance.
To create
And
something of value, which is exactly
I just
what
want to
we're doing.
say, like, we have, like, guys, if you don't see me in front, it's because I'm doing things behind the scenes, which I love to produce behind the scenes. And I have a lot of whales and high level investors messaging me all the time, thanking me for what we're doing, thanking me for where we're going and for what we've created and how sophisticated we are and how we stand out, and they appreciate it so much because they feel like their money is not just in good hands, but everything else on top of where Vetter is going and what it offers. And I just want to mention, on top of everything Mike just shared, the thing that I'm going to be doing with the marketing, like I'll share with you, I have a strategic plan and it is going to get accomplished. But the way that we're
going to give you the update on the wave.
Yeah, I just want to say that it's like I mentioned this a lot, and one of the mods said, there's Robin, like the warrior slashing away, and I do have a sword, by the way, so I have a Tai Chi sword, and I love to that's just my energy. But anyway, I wanted to say that I don't come out hasty with the marketing dollars. I have, close to $800,000 in my fingertips to be able to invest and spend on very specific things. And,
Robin,
everything.
Robin, we're going to get into that. Like, we're going to go over the marketing, the rollout, what we want to see. I'm going to open up the Telegram.
Okay. I just want to mention
hold on.
It's happening.
We're going to open up the wave one. We're going to go over exactly what we said we're going to do. We're going to tell you what changed. Like, we're going to show you everything play by play and why things are happening the way they are.
But first, you're gonna take us inside the dashboard.
Our focus is on value, on creating a real product so that the price of the token goes up for a sustained reason. We're not interested in a pump and dump at all. So we'll come to that. We're gonna come back to the marketing. I do want to show you a couple of things on the calendar. This is the live DApp that we're looking at. This is if you don't connect your wallet, you're at tier 0. It's just showing, of course, like on Monday. These are real events, by the way. A lot of people are like, I thought you said you were going to launch. It's like, we always did say that we are going to launch on the 7th to a small group of people who are our most experienced scouts and vetters. And then we're going to open it up to our less experienced scouts and vetters. And then the original date we said was November 21st. And I know our moderators and people that were on the live chats would reiterate that. I actually was thinking we could even open it up much sooner. So I stopped mentioning the November 21st date, but there was always this rollout, you know, and it should seem obvious why that would need to be the case, not just for beta testing on a larger scale. Obviously the devs, as we said, are pushing something out that's so advanced, so much faster than any other team that I know could do in months faster than any other team that I know that could do. And I say many, many months faster. So there's that. But on top of that, they're still needing to push it out. And of course, we're going to want to push it out first to the people that are most experienced at populating the calendar with real events. These are real events. This is an example of what I mean. For the past week, people have been uploading events. So when you are at tier 0 and you haven't connected your wallet yet, or if you did connect your wallet and you had no tokens, no Vetter token in your wallet, you would see this on the calendar. It says 2 private sale. Well, I can change the search function. I can just look at fair launches. And there's only 1 fair launch that's been uploaded so far. I can look at just IDOs. And it shows just the IDO. So you could do this at tier 0, which is obviously a teaser leading people into wanting to access the higher tiers and the greater features. I could hit private sale or pre-sale. And all of these come up. So these are real events. I could search by category. I could say, just show me how many utility tokens there are, and it changes. You know, Launchpad, I just want to see pink sale. Maybe I'm used to working with pink sale. So all of this is real live data, preparing to open this up for the world. I'm going to go ahead and connect my wallet really quick. So now it changes, right? Now up here is the intuitive oracle. Now I can also search to show me within certain timelines, 24 hours, 7 days, 30 days, etc. But more importantly, I can see the names of the projects and the times that they're launching, and I can click on them and get all the additional information, including the timeline. And you can see right here, this little circle, this green circle, it says today. It shows you that, oh, okay, you can immediately see that everything that is behind this circle already happened. So it's a fast way to get the information you need. You know, the private sale already happened because that was at Monday at 9 a.m., but today is Saturday. So it's a fast way to see what's going on. And you can see, oh, I still have time for the pre-sale. I still have time for the launch. Super, super valuable. This is all live data, the project, all of this information, the Launchpad it's launching from. It says positives, has red flags, all this kind of stuff. And you can see up here, it has this is highlighted. It says Scout. And by the way, someone could upload a profile picture now. They can also change their username. That's recent. So a lot of people haven't done that yet, but you can start to identify yourself with, you know, so people can know who you are. And that can be important because if you develop a good reputation in here, people will start following you. Pretty soon we're going to add the follow feature. If you develop a good reputation in here, and people get to know who you are, you might want to, you know, have a cool username so people can recognize you, maybe a cool, you know, avatar or NFT or some image so people can recognize you. Then they'll follow you, and you can start getting a lot of tips, which can really add up because it could be hundreds and hundreds of people tipping you all at once on some of these projects, thanking you. So you want to develop that, you know, that reputation. And then Vetter right here, I'm going to click on this now. So now this is the vetted information. So this is additional information that a vetter has added that goes deeper dive, much deeper dive. And you can have multiple vetters giving additional information. And soon what's going to be added next, I'm going to click back on the Scout. You see, this is a lot shorter. Soon there'll be little icons. So for example, if let's say there were several different vetters and they gave different information on, oh, let's say the category, like let's say some people thought it was a utility, some people thought it was something else. It would have a little icon here indicating that there were differences of opinion. And that would be on all of this. Whenever there was an additional positive note added, like if two vetters came and gave additional positive notes, you would see 2 icons here. You would know and be able to go quickly to see what they had said differently about it, or red flags. As a project gets closer and closer to launch day, there might be new red flags that appear. And so a new vendor might come up and add an additional red flag. You would see an icon here immediately notifying you, hey, there's additional notes here. There's additional red flags to consider. And you could click and immediately see those red flags. Guys, what this does, the value that this adds for the industry is massive. Not only for an investor wanting to speed up the amount of time to figure out what's going on, what's launching, and all the data they need to make quick decisions and do their research, but also for the entire crypto market. Because when you reduce the amount of scams, when you increase the number of investors that are making better decisions, you increase the efficacy and the integrity of the entire crypto market. And that's going to get the most influential people talking. This is where our minds are at. This is what we're creating. So while we know there's going to be a lot of people watching the ups and downs of the chart, we know what's going to make it go up and then up some more and then up some more than anything else they could do. And that is continually making this better and better and better. That's where our focus should be. So that's what we're going to keep communicating with you about. We're in this weird, awkward place, this transition, because some people have access to this, but not everybody does yet. So here's what we're waiting on to open this up to everybody, waiting on from the devs. And here's what we're waiting on before we turn on the marketing. And I'm going to get into what we had originally planned with the marketing, why it changed, and where we're at with that, and what we're waiting on to turn it on full throttle, and why we made that decision. So first, what we're waiting on from the devs to open this up to the world, which they said is Tuesday. But again, I'm not married to that date. You know, if you just joined us, listen to the replay again. I did the best that I could at the beginning of this call to help people understand why, if we launch this, if we say this is opened up to everybody on Tuesday, and then it doesn't happen till Thursday, or it doesn't happen till the following week, that's no reason to cry or complain. What we're accomplishing, what the dev team is accomplishing, is already so friggin' incredible. And there's a reason why, because we're rushing this process, because the crypto market needs speed. So we're trying to give that the market that speed, and we're doing it with the dev team that is months and months and months and months ahead of what any other dev team could do. So, but that creates some challenge in knowing the exact date, because you don't know what exactly is going to come up when you're rushing that fast. And so Tuesday was the day I was given. This is open up to everybody. And again, I'm going to show you in a second what we need before we open it up to everybody, what we're waiting on. But just understand, if it doesn't happen Tuesday and I see a complaint in the Telegram group about that, it means you just don't understand what's going on, and I'm not even going to address it. It's just, what can we do? We're just going to launch the dang thing months faster than any other, the best team in the world I think could do. And we're proud of that fact. And that's enough. You know what I mean? I don't know how to express that any differently. So with all of that said, what are we waiting on for this to launch to the world? We're waiting on the color coding. You can see these are all blue. They got to turn on the color coding. Now they have it all built, but they're rolling things out in pieces when we open this up live to see what issues came up with that piece. And then, and again, all this was thoroughly tested as much as the dev team could do themselves. But when you open it up to a larger group of people with real live data, new things come up. And so they didn't roll out the color coding yet. We want to see the color coding before we open this up to everybody. We're told that the color coding will be out within the next 24 to 48 hours to the people who have access to this. So that's right around the corner. The other piece to this is, before we open this up to everybody. Oh, and by the way, let me go to the dashboard. So you see here, these are all beige. So that's part of the color coding too. Like when the color coding's turned on, you'll see, these will be different colors. Now, they won't actually turn different colors till people can vote on the success or failure of the projects, because that has to do with the person's ranking, for those of you who are following how all this works. But just know that this also has to do with the color coding. This has to do with the color coding. They won't all be blue. And then also the intuitive oracle I was saying earlier, if you want to select to have this just show you, the color coding of projects based on the scout, the poster, who's called the scout, their track record of success with projects they previously posted within a 24-hour period, to see their color coding based on 24 hours versus 7 days versus 30 days. That's the color coding. So we wanted that out, before we open it up to everybody, and we're supposed to just be days away or less for that. The other thing is the voting and the tipping. right now, if we go to team stats, you're going to see top paid scout. This is live data. The top paid scout so far has been paid 2,800 better. By the way, you might think, well, that's not very much money. Understand that when the ranking gets turned on, which is any moment, and the voting gets turned on, which is a part of that because people get to vote on the success or failure of the project, then people's ranks go up. And if they have a track record of successful projects that they've posted, right? And when they go to beige, they get paid more than when they're new. Right now, everybody's new. When they go to green, color coding of green, because they have a better track record, they get paid a lot. And the amount that people are paid will fluctuate day to day. And we'll get into that later, when everyone has access to this, about how all of that works and stuff. And you're going to see it every day. You're going to see what you get paid if you post that day for the various ranks. It's going to depend on supply and demand. Like if we already have tons of events on the calendar, like way more than we ever need, and we have tons of people who are green and we have tons of people who are purple, the higher ranks, then we don't need to change what we're paying. In fact, if we have too many, we might pay less. It's going to fluctuate day to day based on supply and demand. But the point I'm getting at is, as a person's rank goes up, they get paid much more. So this is the lowest paid level. That's why it wouldn't be a lot yet. But when people get to green and get to purple in their posting, they're going to get paid a lot because it's so valuable to investors to be able to come here and see data on the calendar from people who got to the ranks of green or purple, because it means they have a very stellar track record of success. So anyway, the ranking, the color coding, that's coming, and the voting and the tipping. Again, voting is people being able to vote on a project after it launches. Was it successful within a 24-hour period? Was it successful within a 7-day period? And we'll talk in more detail when everyone has access to this about what it means to be successful or unsuccessful, et cetera, et cetera. We'll define all that. We'll train on all of that. And people that don't get it, they'll get downvoted, and they won't make anything for voting. So they'll stop voting because they'll just be paying for gas. If someone's not a good voter, if they're not following the simple instructions, then they'll just not be able to vote without paying money and it being obvious they're a bad voter. So it just won't mean anything.
I just want to share some perspective.
One more thing. I want to finish that thought. And then
Okay.
tippers. We want people to be able to tip. That's supposed to open up within the next 24 to 48 hours as well. So tipping, voting, and color ranking are the three main things that you guys would see that we're waiting on to open this up to everybody. And then the only other thing is security behind the scenes. There's just some things that they want to do. So security just meaning in this case, if somebody is at tier 0, that if somebody knows some coding and programming, they wouldn't be able to do a few things to kind of bypass that. So that just needs to be tightened up. All of that is supposed to be able to be in place, like I said, by Tuesday. But again, we're not married to that date. We're already 6 months ahead from even some of the best teams, what they could do in terms of being able to get this out. And so if it isn't Tuesday and it's Thursday or it's the following week, we don't mind. And we hope you understand what's happening here well enough that you wouldn't mind either. And if you get it, if you understand what we're doing and you see someone coming in who doesn't get on these calls, who doesn't pay attention to what's going on, who doesn't understand how significant all of this is, and they're, blabbing their mouth in the Telegram group, we're not going to be in there to address it. We're going to be building right here. So we hope you guys that do get it will take the time to kind of, explain to them what's going on. And the sad thing is that the ones that get it the least, the ones that don't do their research, they're usually the loudest. So
Yeah.
all we can do is all we can do.
I made a comment last night. I went into the Telegram and someone's like, "Oh, there's Robin, but where's Mikey?" I'm like, "He's building." I said exactly.
Yeah, we're going to stay focused on building this. Yes, absolutely.
I just wanted to say, I was chatting with the mods and the moderators guys last night or the night before. And we have just a super solid group of people who support the project here, and you guys probably have met with them. At this moment, we have over 17,000 people in our official Telegram group. And on this call, we have 326 people listening right now. And I just wanted to say something that was brought to my attention where they said, Robin and Mike, you guys are visionaries. And, he said, I tend to lean toward being an artist visionary as well. He said, and I noticed that a lot of people who don't have that visionary mind don't understand. And as Mike was going through all of this, I just want to let you guys know, those of you who are tuning in, you're early, you're at the onset, and just imagine like a year from now when everything is just exploding and people have made you know, the system has paid, I don't know, millions of dollars in Vetter to support the contribution
Well, and
of this
imagine
platform.
investors using the tool, all the gains that they're going to have, all the time that they saved. It's just obviously going to be one of the most well-known brands in the crypto research space. I get,
Yeah, and I just, you know, I just want to share that because a lot of our investors in Vetter, there's a couple of guys that just come in every day, like so enthusiastic and positive, and the women, you know, you guys just come in. And like Mike said, there's just a handful that cause kind of like a splinter effect where it's like, really? And I just want to let you guys know, you know, to keep that message, those of you who understand what we're doing, who have maybe more of a visionary type mindset, or at least can see the vision of what we're talking about and understand, oh my goodness, I am early at this. And oh my goodness, they're actually backing everything they're doing with action and stabilizing this and making it sustainable and like making it actually what they say and even better and proving it. And I just want to let you guys know. So if you see, you know, if Mike and I and the mods aren't in the chat, you know, feel free to share all of this goodness, you know, and spread the word of where we're at and where we're going and what's about to happen and what will happen. And I promise you, just like with Ethereum, I got into Ethereum when it was $464 per ETH. And then I got into Solana at $8 per Solana. And I I called all of my friends and family with Solana. And I said, you guys have to do this. Like, please, like you're gonna love me to death in a year from now. And they were like, only one of my friends got in and he was like, all right, Robin. So, you know, it's just sometimes some of us know, some of us are at the onset of it, and some of us get in when we feel it, when we know. And I know some of you guys just know with Vetter, and those who find Vetter and who will find Vetter as this year progresses, 2022 progresses, they'll feel it too. As soon as they see it, you know, people come to me and said, the moment I saw Vetter, I just knew this was it. I want to be involved. How can I be involved? You know, we have people coming at us, and I won't mention who they are, but they're like high level, like started cryptocurrency projects way before crypto was started, kind of people who want to partner with us.
by the
We
way,
have a lot of interest.
For those who missed the memo, we don't name them because we don't want hundreds of people reaching out to them, bugging the hell out of them, you know, and making them not want to do business with us. Like if we start naming the people reaching out to us, it's exactly what's going to happen. Hundreds of people reach out to them to verify, and they'll be extremely inundated, overwhelmed, and think we're idiots for having named them this early in the collaboration. So that's why.
Anyway,
Robin, hold on. It's great. The big picture stuff's great.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get across what exactly needs to get done, right? And I told you guys, ranking, tipping, and voting. That's when you'll see like team stats. Like right now, you see top paid scout, top paid vetter. That's what they've been paid, right? I just mentioned that people are going to be paid tons more as they move up the ranks. They're paid out of the taxes, so that's a good thing, that the taxes aren't just going to everybody who just sits on their butt and doesn't do anything. The taxes actually go to the people bringing value to the platform. So even investors who come here who may not be earning Vetter because they're just using the platform as a research tool are going to be grateful for the tax, because that's what creates the value, as opposed to all these other platforms that are paying people for just sitting on their butt doing nothing. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And that just saturates the value of the token by giving it to everybody. Here, it's actually going in the hands of the people who make the platform more valuable, which then attracts more investors to buy the token. It just makes a lot more sense. Okay. When we have tipping in place, which is supposed to be within the next 24 hours, you'll see this top tipper fill in. Now people are going to start tipping people, and people will be making money getting tipped. Top tipped scout. This will show, who's getting the most tips, because that might be somebody you want to follow. Now the follow feature isn't in place yet. It's coming up really soon, but this needs to get in place first to know who you want to follow. And you'll be able to actually click on a link here soon in Team Stats and go to a much bigger Team Stats page that shows a big list of all the top tipped scouts and top tipped vetters. So you can see their ranks and see a bunch of them, and then you can see what they've helped people make. by what they posted, and people that are consistently getting tipped a lot, and you find that they also have good ranking scores, those are the ones you're going to want to follow. And pretty soon that feature will be in place. And actually, like it says projects up here, but this will actually be the follow section. So you can, when they favorite something, it's going to appear, and you're going to, it's just so crazy good, guys. And this is just so ridiculously amazing that compared to anything else out there in terms of value offered to the markets now, that like we just don't even feel like we need to explain anymore. You know what I mean? Like here's what we need to do. And then by the way, gains and tips is going to fill up. Here's what we need to do. So, ranking, tips, and voting obviously need to be in place before we open this up to everybody. It's supposed to be within hours or days is where we're at with that. If it's a week, please no complaining. Like the dev team is working their butts off, and they're already so amazing and have created something so amazing here that would be amazing too. Okay, marketing. We had talked about this, big fancy thing. We made a big fanfare about it because there was nothing else but to just, dream with you guys and say, okay, here's our rollout plan. We got 800 grand. We actually have a lot more we could use. We're extremely well funded, but we said we've earmarked for now 800 grand to roll this out and get the word out, because we believe, that would be enough. Once the platform's launched, that matches up with this rollout marketing plan, where we will have created so much buzz that we don't even think we need to spend any money on marketing after that. It's going to be so crazy because the platform's so amazing. That was the original plan. 800,000 earmarked. If we needed more, we knew we have access to more, but we don't expect needing more because it will create just so much word of mouth buzz that would be enough. And we shared that plan with you. Wave one was, 1 week before launch, we had said, and we posted this like at the end of October. I said 1 week before launch, we plan to spend 300 grand. And we shared how we plan to use that. And then wave two, we said was 3 days, we would run 3 days after launch of version 1 DApp. And by launch, we meant opening this up to the first group. And we were going to spend 50 grand on that. And then wave three, anyway, you guys can look at this for the details, but I want to, for those that are asking when this marketing plan, I wanted to address this. We got into wave one, spent about 60 grand. Not even way even before that, we knew there was a problem. And the problem was and by the way, some people said some really silly things like, oh, you spent 60 grand and you only got 200 holders. No. When we first opened this up, we had around 8,000 holders. We got over about 10,400 holders. Now we're at like 10,300 holders. You guys have to understand that when people join crypto, first of all, that's an addition of a couple thousand holders. But more so, realize when people join crypto pre-sales, a lot of them don't pay any attention to what we're building and don't care. I'm sure we've lost thousands of holders, which we knew we would, who got in on the pre-sale and then they just get out. It's just what a lot of people do. We had people even in our own community that just ripped out. They go, oh, I ripped, and they made a huge profit. That just don't really care about anything else other than short-term profits. We knew there would be a group of people like that. So we're very impressed with how many holders we have right now, being that we're still at the point where the platform hasn't fully launched and we hardly have even used any of our marketing budget yet. It's absolutely incredible. But the problem was, when we first started turning on the ads, the price started skyrocketing way faster than we felt comfortable with. And I know a lot of people don't understand, why would that be? Why don't you want it to skyrocket? Because again, this goes back to what we were talking about earlier. Most of the BSC projects, most crypto projects that launch at all, especially the BSC, it's all about hype and BS. They're not actually building anything 99% of the time. And then in the few little times they are planning to, they rarely actually ever do because it's too hard. And so it's all about now, make it go up, make it go up, make it go up. But the problem is, and a lot of you have seen this, 99.9% of the time, if that's what you try to do, is it pumps and dumps. And really never comes back in most cases, even if it achieves that. I mean, isn't it kind of weird? Like the biggest success stories are pump and dumps that never come back. I know there's a few exceptions, but I mean, that's considered a success. Then there's the real few successes like Shiba Inu and Doge and stuff that pump and dump and then pumped again. And then, years go by and they pump again and it's like the real amazing, very rare success story. And some of them have harnessed the hype, but it's like we're talking about 0.000000. You can keep going 1% of the projects that have done that. We don't want to try to be among them. That's too low of odds to just build something on hype and then create value like Shiba Inu did. We're coming out with the value first. It's very different. And so we don't want to see here. So here's what happened. We realized when the price was pumping that we had a lot of people coming in because they were planning on the price pumping. Like we had the price pumping because people were buying in, planning on the price to keep pumping. That's not why we want people buying. Not here. We want people buying because they believe in the vision of the DApp. Pretty soon, hopefully in a few days, we want people buying because they literally just want to use the dang DApp. That's where we're trying to get to very, very badly. We want very much for people to own, and this is very rare, guys. Like how many tokens do you own where people bought the token mainly, not because it was going to go up, but mainly because they needed it to access something? Not very many. I don't know if I have any tokens like that. Just about every token I ever bought was just because I hoped it goes up. I mean, even Bitcoin I bought because I hope it goes up. I didn't buy it so I could use it to buy houses or whatever. Ethereum, same thing. It's like, yeah, you do need to use Ethereum. When you talk about these big networks, there is application there, but my main motivation for buying Ethereum is for it to go up. Here, starting very soon, hopefully by Tuesday, I won't cry if it's the following week. Very soon, our whole marketing plan and expectation is that the people who buy the token at that point are buying it because they want to access the application. That is massive. That is game changing in and of itself. And we know when we get there, that the whole conversation changes because it's just obvious at that point how different we are and how valuable this is, not just to an investor, researcher, but to the entire crypto blockchain as a use case that, oh, people will actually be using tokens for something and not just for Ponzi's. We know that very soon it will just be obvious. We won't even have to say anything anymore here pretty soon. It will just be obvious because people will want to use the platform. They'll want to buy the token just to use the platform. That's where we're trying to get to. So we knew there was a speculation period. Obviously, before we launched, it's the same old speculation stuff. There's no way around it because it doesn't exist yet. But we knew our whole goal and what we wanted to like really set ourselves apart with was we actually have a platform. We actually have something that's going to be out in the immediate future. Even when we were in our speculative phase, that was what it was all about. Now, when we started our wave one marketing, the whole focus was like, let's attract people who get it. We show them, what we've built. We show them that we've invested months into this Discord testing, improving the model. We documented a lot of the results. We show them screenshots of the DApp, and they realize that it's literally launching within days or weeks, not months or years. And let's attract a bunch of people that just love that. But what we realized was a lot of the price increase, there's obviously a lot of that too, but way more than we wanted were a lot of people, and you could tell by the types of questions and comments in the Telegram, there were just way too many people buying in just because they were hoping it would go up. And they didn't really give a damn about any of the substance or the value or the game-changing tool we're creating. And we just don't want those types because that attracting those types, which is the typical type of investor in the BSC, creates pump and dumps. And we don't want that. We want a steady increase. And so we love the way this looks, by the way, because you got to have some consolidation. You have to have some selling. You have to have some profit taking in order to build the next leg up. But it's also about who you attract. Are you attracting people who actually understand the value of what we're doing and that are here for that? Are you attracting people who just heard you're about ready to invest $800,000 into marketing, so they buy in to see a pump and then they plan to dump when they find out you spent it, and they have no concept at all for what we're doing? We don't want those people. We actually think that those people right now that don't care about the substance of what we're building, which is fine. We actually think that once they see the DApp and the platform, most of them will get it then. And when they buy tokens, whether just to access the features or because they believe, there'll still be speculation in play, because a lot of them will then believe, oh, wow, this is friggin' amazing. I can see how this is going to create incredible interest. And I can see how a lot of people are going to want to access this. So they might buy a lot more than what they need in anticipation for that increased demand, but it will be because they see the DApp and realize how powerful it is. We don't mind that kind of speculation. We don't like the speculation where, oh, they're going to spend 800 grand. Oh, it started, I'm going to buy, and then I'm going to dump as soon as it peaks. We don't want that kind of speculation. We want the speculation, if there is any, to be all around understanding the power of the DApp, the power of the platform, and that there'll be for them to understand there's going to be increased demand because the DApp is so powerful. So when we turn on the marketing and stuff, we saw the kinds of questions and comments we saw in the Telegram, it really turned us off, and it made us turn the marketing off. And they would come down, we kind of turn it back on again, and it would do it again, and then we turned it off. And now we have it completely off, and it's still kind of making a rebound. And we're not going to turn it on, guys. So I just want you to know that's why we deviated from this plan. We still have almost all of that. We have 740,000 or something like that still remaining. And I just want you to understand we have a lot more we could use. We had just kind of sat around and just decided a game plan of what would it take to get the whole world knowing we exist, through PR, through marketing, etc. Once the DApp's out, if we, start this launch plan before it's completely out, build the momentum, build some awareness, launch it, continue and spend most of the money after it's out. Because we had planned about, 350,000 or 300,000 before it launched, 50,000 after was kind of where it's at now. And then somewhere around wave 3, wave 4, wave 5 was where we're going to do most of our spending, which we kind of planned. That's when it's kind of in the market, in everyone's hands. And that was the bulk of the money we were spending. That whole plan was about what does it take? What do we think it's going to take to get the whole world to know we exist and have the buzz and the people's demand for it to be enough to take it from there? And 800,000 was what we landed on. We still have almost all of that to work with, but that's why we turned it off. We didn't like the types of people, and I'm not saying everybody. I know we attracted a lot of good people who are just quiet in the background, or like Robin said, a lot of really influential, awesome people reaching out, thanking us, acknowledging what we're doing. But there was just in the Telegram, sometimes the noisiest people aren't necessarily the majority, but there was just too many people who clearly weren't here for the right reasons and were the types of people that could create a pump and dump. And just, we want those types of people to see the DApp. And if they're going to buy the token later, for that to be the reason why they're buying it, either to access the DApp or because if they're buying a lot more than what they need, because they're anticipating, because what they see the DApp is doing, they're anticipating huge demand. That's a completely different type of setup. That's going to create a different kind of chart, a lot less stress for us, a lot less needing to appease people that don't do research, who don't understand, and having to constantly repeat ourselves over and over again, creating unnecessary FUD. The more we attract those kinds of people, like why would we want that to be the base of our community? And why would we want to help those kinds of people get rich? It just doesn't make any sense. So we turned it off, and it's off right now. I think there's, Robin, what are we spending? Probably $500 a day or something like that on banner ads, which we're about ready to probably, we're probably going to turn that off any moment too. It's like, we don't need
yeah, it's about like maybe 3,000 at this moment.
Wait, we're spending 3,000 a day right now?
Oh, no, it's my budget's at 3,000, but I cut it down to about like 300. It's like spending 300 right now.
We may just go ahead and turn those off for a couple of days. just so you guys understand, we basically have all marketing off right now because we don't want to turn it back on until the DApp is open to all. I was told the DApp will be open to all on Tuesday. I repeat, I'm not going to cry or be surprised if it isn't open until the next week or sometime in between, but we're days away. The devs are aiming for Tuesday. If something doesn't pop up, and I'll just say one more time, the reason why it's not an exact date is because we're 6 months ahead, building this and launching this 6 months faster than even some of the best teams in the world would be able to do. If we built this on a regular, typical project management type style, we would have to set this out many, 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 many months. So that would allow lots of time for each stage and ample testing at each stage. And the crypto market isn't going to, that's not going to work for what we're trying to do. We need to get this out now. We need to push, we need to run. And we've got a team that can do it without a mess. Most teams would have quit by now because it would just be too much of a mess. But with Jeremy at the helm and the two phenomenal people he brought on board, them working their butts off, they're able to pull it off and create something absolutely sensational that represents the best technology that's ever been created with a DApp. And again, in a few days, we'll have a call to break down the technology and why we can say this is by a landslide the best technology ever put out, built into a smart contract with a DApp. And we're going to talk about that specifically in a few days. Okay, so that's where we're on the marketing. That's where we're at with the marketing now. We're going to wait until we get word from the devs. We can open the DApp up to everybody because, and then there'll be one more thing. We need to drive them into the marketing funnel that's designed to help them understand what's here. Like a new person right away, seeing an ad or reading an article, coming to the website, we need to set it up. And there might be some tweaking and changing to get it perfected. We need to set it up where right now it's going to be driving into here where they can just hit a short video and know why they need this, why they want this, how many tokens they need to access the tier level they want, and to help them buy it and get them right in. So when we crank up the marketing, that's going to be in place. Robin just shot a video. I scripted it out yesterday with her. She shot it. She's editing it right now. That's going to go here. That will be the first step in that process. And then we're going to make much better demo videos, because again, we don't have the ranking in place yet. Like I was just telling you, we don't have the tipping in place yet or the voting in place yet. So I can't really complete the demos for about another 48 hours. But as soon as that's in place, then these demos get really badass. And she's working on that video right now. When we have it announced, which could be as soon as Tuesday, that the DApp is ready for everybody, and we have it announced, well, this video could be up within the next 24 hours or so, or 48 hours as well. Well, we have it announced that this is ready. That's when we go back to how do we want to spend that 800 grand? And it's basically still 800 grand. Might just throw another 40 grand into it, just make it a good 800 grand. To get the buzz out to the world that we're here, what it does, but we want to lead them into using the DApp. We want people buying the token to use the DApp. And if they're buying more than that, it's because of the DApp. They're going, damn, this is incredible. I'm going to get more because I can see why a lot of people, as soon as they find out about this, are going to want more. And that's going to be what drives the price up. Not some hype, not some because we did this, we did that. It's not going to be about us here pretty soon, guys. The reason why doxing is so important in this market, the reason why there's so much emphasis on all that and on the people behind it is because no one's actually built anything of value yet. And so everyone's like, can I trust these people? Are they really going to build something of value? Are they just going to run off with my money? That's why that's such a big deal. But as soon as we have this DApp fully working, which could be days from now, it's not about us anymore. It's not about what we do. And it shouldn't be. We want to make this fully decentralized, meaning we have nothing to do with it. We want to, and that's going to take a little while to get fully there, but we're going to get there where it's not about us at all. It's like you come here, someone comes here, they know exactly what to do to access the features of the DApp they want to access. And any changes and stuff are community voted, community decided. And it's not about us. It's about the value of the DApp and the platform and what it can do for a research investor. And if anyone buys extra Vetter, it's because they believe there's going to be more demand for Vetter because they see that the DApp is so valuable. That's where we're trying to get. And again, we're days away, it sounds like, days away from opening this up to everybody. We're days away from having the first version of the marketing in place to be able to start that up again. Now, we might test different things. We might go, you know what? We might turn it on, get it going, and then turn it off again, because we might go, okay, let's go ahead and now improve. Now we like the getting started. We're getting people flooding in here, but now we want to get little light boxes, little pop-ups, little videos in here, right? Like, so if somebody just goes straight to the Vetter board or straight to the calendar, we want, you know, and let's say their wallet's not connected yet, we want to have ways here that educates them on how to use it. You know, and obviously also what's going to be really important is this video vault for people who are brand new to the BSC or brand new to all of this. And so you might see us after we turn on the marketing and announce that it's on, you might see us turn it back off again, and we'll tell you, because we want to get the video vault going a little bit more. We think we're losing some people that have never done the BSC before, for example. So we're going to get a couple how-to videos up. We're going to keep perfecting this until the funnel's just ideal. Just understand, we have $800,000 to spend, we spent 60 grand. We'll throw another 60 grand in there. We have $800,000 to spend on marketing. Our first step before we crank it on again, just to repeat here, is this getting started section. We should have that set up in a couple of days with new demos, because there's the voting and the ranking and all that new stuff that I'm going to get to show that this does a little bit better. Like, this won't be blank pretty soon, for example. But then we might turn the marketing off again a little bit. There might be some PR that gets started, and then we might pause it for a moment to get the video vault going. Like, we're going to keep perfecting it and improving it, and we're going to keep investing into the marketing. We got $800,000 still earmarked for it. That's the process that we're going to follow. Get used to us making adjustments along the way, because this isn't BS. We're actually building something. And when you're actually building something, then you have situations like Elon Musk in 2018, where they didn't hit their production, of their Model S, their production timeline targets. That's the way it's supposed to be. But obviously they became one of the most successful companies in the history of the world, regardless, because that's how it really goes down. It's going to go down that way here too. So hopefully that makes sense. In a couple of days, we're going to have another session with Jeremy to dive deep into the technology behind this that gives us the right to claim that this is the most advanced app that's ever been created, and that that has a massive implication, not just for investor researchers as the tool it's been designed for, but as a massive important place in the history of the contribution it's made to moving the entire blockchain forward. And that's no small statement. So we're going to have a session just dedicated to that and the technology behind that and how we can claim that and why that's such a big deal, so that more people can just understand the scope and the scale of all of this. Because I know that it's a lot bigger than most people still yet recognize. So that'll be in a few days. We'll have an AMA either immediately after that, or we might schedule like the next day, we'll let you know. But following up on that, where it's just a question and answer, and I'll try to get as much of Jeremy's time for us just to sit there and answer question after question after question after we have that technology focused session. You guys, obviously we're extremely excited, and I'll let Robin kind of close this out. I just want to say, I want to thank everybody that helped make this possible. And first of all, the moderators, the people that were managing the live chat, and there to answer questions and stuff out there on the front lines. Absolutely amazing. The contribution they've made and the quality of people that were behind the community and being there to answer questions, just absolutely amazing. We're going to give them a little bit of a rest. So if you don't see the live chat on as much, if you don't see the text chat moderated as much, it's because between now and this next phase, which is the platform opening up to everybody and the marketing kicking on, we just want to give the community and the moderators, the people that have been managing the live chat, a little bit of a pause, a little bit of a break. So again, if you're an investor out there and you happen to fall into the Telegram group, please, fill in some of that space to help them take a little bit of a break, a little pause before this next massive phase for Vetter takes hold, which is we're days away from announcing this opens up to everybody. All the features, the tipping, the ranking, the voting, everything's in place, and the marketing's in place, at least that first phase of marketing where you have this getting started, video here, and the demos are better. And it's leading people into understanding how much better they need to access the different tiers between now and the next few days when that's all in place. If you can help fill in any gaps in the Telegram group, because we're not going to be in there much. We're building it. We're building it. And that's where our focus should remain. We'll let the market decide where they want to price it. We're confident it's going to be priced a lot higher than it is right now, but we're biased. You guys have to make that decision yourself. So based on what we're doing, which is creating this and providing it. But anyway, they'll be taking a little bit of a break. I want to thank them for what they've done to help the community with answering questions. It's been a ferocious job on their end. And then also, a lot of you don't know this, but there was a team of vetters, and we call them ninjas in the Discord. The ninjas are people that have really worked behind the scenes on a lot of stuff and just given a lot to the community for a long time. So we really trust them. And a lot of them headed up managing a group of vetters that were the best vetters, and they were training. These are the kinds of investments, they've been putting in with their time, and we've been putting into to help fund like getting that going. And they spent a couple of weeks with new vetters to train and teach them how to be a better vetter. So I want to thank them for what they've contributed. And, we're going to actually, for those that want to be listed and acknowledged and be seen as being part of the team, we're actually going to include these people at vetter.ai. Do I have that open anywhere? I don't think I do. But if you go to vetter.ai at the bottom, it shows me, Jeremy, and Robin. We really want to show the full extent of everybody and all these teams that I'm acknowledging that are really a part of making this amazing. And so look for that too. Like, I really want to have that show and showcase just how big and the depth of this community. But I want to thank them, Robin as well. I want to thank Robin for everything that she brings to this. I mean, it's really hard to articulate all the things that she does, the people that she connects with, the people that she brings into the fold, the influencers, and then just obviously her presence on video. The time will come where you won't see Robin on video. You won't hear me talking about this project because it needs to become decentralized. It needs to be known as a project that stands on its own without any individuals at the helm. When you have individuals at the helm, the project's at risk of suffering if something happens to us. But if a project is decentralized, then its success or failure doesn't depend on one or a couple of people. So you're going to see us shifting into that. But to get it started, obviously, huge advantage for everybody to have Robin with her awesome video presence. And you'll see that go on a little bit longer before it's all fully decentralized. And then it's obvious what it is and how valuable all this is. But I want to thank Robin for everything she brings. And then, of course, the dev team. I mean, you guys have no idea how hard they've been working. And this is an older team. They're not young, working the hours that they are day after day, week after week to accomplish this. Is just absolutely insane what they've brought. And I just want to acknowledge them. Absolutely incredible. Jeremy, the lead dev, a lot of you have met him, and he's also co-founder. We'll have him on a session in a couple of days, as I was saying, as we dive into what the depth of the technology behind all of this, so you guys really understand how unprecedented it is. But also Todd and David, two people that he handpicked. He could have picked a lot of different people. He picked them because they're the best among the best, and they've been working their tails off to pull off something pretty phenomenal. So I want to thank them as well. And then those of you who've that get it, that have been supportive, that always helps to have that positive vibe, the gratitude, the people who see what we're doing. Really, really appreciate you as well. And Robin, with all that said, I'll hand it over to you to close out.
Yeah, I just, I have a marketing team in the UK who worked with, I'm going to say, the best or the most successful, one of the most successful BSC projects to date. I haven't had them begin because I am preparing success stories that will then be rolled out as the DAP is rolled out. So I'm moving into that, which will be really exciting. That leads me into two different PR agencies, one in London and the other Miami, New York, United States area. Both focusing on different aspects, different angles. And so I'm going to be featuring, if you guys know anything about, hooks, creating kind of a juicy headline hook. I'm going to be taking two different styles with the different PR agencies. So the one in London will take a different angle than the one in the United States. Both will be focused on crypto websites and Twitter channels, as well as in the United States mainstream media. I'm also, which includes like the Forbes and Bloomberg and Time Magazine, all, you know, like Yahoo Finance and all that kind of stuff. But obviously the thing that I've been working on with these PR agencies is to prepare the story, which is people using the DAP, the dashboard, the calendar, how it works, how people get paid. And then of course, the gems that float to the top that you get to spend, you know, a really fast time searching, as Mike showed the Oracle there, being able to search for very quickly the projects that match your lifestyle goals and your timeline goals. You want a quick project, 24 hours, or you want more of a long-term slow burn, as I say, more of like a 30-day project sustainably. So we're going to be focusing on telling the story in different angles. So it's a very sophisticated approach. It's not just like a crash and burn situation. We're not looking to create, as Mike mentioned earlier, pump and dump scenario. We're not attracting the same types of investors or lack of investors as other projects. So it is a different approach, which, you know, may seem slower than not, because it is approached in a strategic way. Very smart, you know, very mindful. And of course, yeah, I have a very huge budget to work with, more than most projects. And I have more than enough to do what we want to do in a very short time frame. Short meaning, you know, like rolling it out over the course of 3 months to 6 months. And then of course, throughout the year, as we head into our launch pad.
Hold on real quick. So it isn't going to take 6 months to move through the marketing.
No, I'm just saying to create sustainable results over time.
Yeah, it's really important. People, you know, people often they will say something and then they'll assume that that means something else. The 800,000 that we had earmarked is the initial launch, but it's going to change. The timeline's going to change based on what we're seeing. And I tried to communicate that the best way I could. You know, if, for example, we set this up, we start flooding PR and marketing through this getting started section. We see the results that it's getting, and we see people are getting stuck. Like, let's say after they get to the dashboard and we see we need some kind of tutorial here, or like some stuff added over here, we might pause it and set that up. We'll keep you guys posted on that, and we turn it back on. But when Robin says 6 months, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to take that long to get this out to the world in a big way. I think in 45 days personally.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, I have PR agencies that want to work with us for a whole year. And so my plan of rolling it out is, of course, to continue as well as, you know, doing something very quickly. But the plan isn't just, oh, let me spend this money and then I'm done. It's, you know, let me create a scenario that's going to last over time, so that when people come in and new investors come in and use the platform, and the holders who are holding their, you know, tens of millions of tokens and better, they're just wowed at the fact that, you know, months go by and more investors are piling in because it's so solid. So that's just my plan. Obviously, it's in a short time frame. I have a lot going on, as well as, I'll finish it up, YouTube influencers. I am working on that as well. But again, I started working with them, and the one thing that I actually realized that I wanted is to have the DAP in the hands of the public first, in order to, of course, as Mike, you know, if you go to the homepage, Vetter.ai, we are making updates to that as well. So when you go to Vetter.ai, you'll see that there's improvements to that I'm working on with developers. But I want to have, when people go to the homepage, I want to make sure that the DAP is working, so that when, you know, when we're spending all this money and we have all these mainstream media agencies and all these influencers on YouTube going to our site, it's actually leading to what will get the best results for everybody. Obviously, you guys, you know, will see the increase of investors. If I were to spend all of that money now and lead people into it, in this very minute, it wouldn't make sense, waiting a week. I know for some people is a lot to ask, but for me to wait a week is like, it makes sense, to showcase more, which will allow us to get more results. Because again, this is all, the point here is about onboarding people into the DApp. So the point of my PR, the point of my marketing, the point of my influencers isn't just a quick, crash and burn, pump and dump. It's to really onboard people into the DApp for people who are long-term lifelong investors, people who want to use the platform, but also are super interested in generating passive income as a scout or a vet or a voter, because they think it's super cool and fun and exciting. And it's just, I have people reaching out to me who never, ever would have thought of being a vetter before. And they're so excited to be a vetter. And they're also reaching out to all their contacts to share their excitement, whether, their friends and family or contacts become vetters and scouts or not. It's just creating like a surge of interest that other projects don't. And so my point is, because of that, I'll have so much more excitement and such a juicier story to be able to highlight in different angles. So I'll be taking different approaches with the different PR agencies and marketing and YouTube influencers. And yes, I will be spending the money within like a 45-day period. But it's not going to be hasty, and it's not for the purpose of a pump and dump situation. So it's really exciting. A lot of the investors who are, long-term holders with Vetter, they're just very appreciative of what we're doing and what we are and how we run things. I had someone just during our call today on Telegram message me saying, he has hundreds of investors with big wallets just sitting tight, really excited for what's about to happen. So, guys, there's a lot of projects that come and go. And yeah, there's a lot of projects that you can be a part of that are that pump and dump situation. And you can still be a part of them. And Vetter platform, you can find them still there. Vetter itself is a little bit different, or a lot bit different. So we're excited to have you here. Thank you to all of our mods and those who led the voice chat. I'm probably going to forget names, but Gala, I mentioned, in Australia, she's been stellar. Phyllis, Tracy is a rock star. Jay and Bryant and Shaz, Yolanta, just so many of you, JP, Kevin, my gosh, I'm probably just blanking, Christian. Thank you so much for all of what you do and how you do it. Robert, all of you guys, Chip, you've been supportive, Slats. I just, thank you so much for everything that you guys have done for us and continue to do. And yeah, we're really appreciative. And it's just the beginning, guys. This is just like, we're now getting started. So
the whole conversation changes as soon as the DApp's open to all. One more thing. It might be a little late. Some people might have left, but those that are in the Discord who are qualified scouts and vetters who have not had access to the Vetter platform yet, that would be those that qualified last month, but maybe weren't qualified before that. I had said that we're going to try to get you on the platform today, and that's still the case, although it's not necessarily the afternoon. I'm just waiting from the devs to tell us if the next upgrade has happened to the system. So you get added to the next upgrade. So as soon as that happens, again, all qualifying scouts and vetters will be added. As soon as they're added, the next group is the trial scouts and trial vetters, and then the world. We're very, very close, guys. So stay tuned, and we'll keep you posted. Thanks, everybody. Have a good rest of your weekend. Bye-bye, y'all.